gamers! Today on Dice and Dragons, I'm Jason.
And I'm Julie. I'm Julie every day, not just today.
And we are going to be reviewing the expansion for Terminator Genisys, Rise of the Resistance. Not going to say the full name again. This is Fall of Skynet, which is published by River Horse Games in conjunction with Skydance Productions, ALK Studios, who did the development and production of the miniatures, and it was designed by Team Lynnvander, who is comprised of, I think these are the three guys. We've reviewed a fair bit of their games. Thomas M. Grofton, Josh Dirksen, and Aaron Murch. Now, if I'm forgetting one of the guys that actually worked on the game, I do apologize, but we do enjoy your stuff. With that being said, I'm going to let Julie tell you more about the expansion. Yeah, it's not really the game, the expansion itself.
So this is a cooperative 1 to 5 player, ages 14 and above, and plays in about 60 to 90 minutes.
Now, the nice thing about this expansion is that it takes the base game and expands it up to 5 players. Pretty cool. What are you going to be doing in the game? Well, the exact same thing that you were doing in the original game. You're going to be moving around the map, completing objectives, destroying Terminators, avoiding Terminators. This time what you're trying to do is defeat Skynet. You're taking on the role of the Colorado team. We've got a little bit more diversity, but still a little lacking in that regard. We'll talk about that more in the review. But with that being said, I think we've described the game enough. Julie, take it away.
So it's time to grab our drinks.
Grabbing our drink. Grabbing our best friend.
And we're going to take it to the table.
We're definitely taking it to the table. So, are you going to be playing the female character this time? I know that was one of the things you didn't like about...
I guess I should if there's a female character, but she better be powerful enough.
Now let's take a look at the components for Terminator Genisys, Fall of Skynet. We're going to start with some of the stuff I don't have on camera, like the new rulebook. As you can see, it is not as large as the original one. It does give you a nice overview of the components, all set up the same way as the original rulebook. You do get to see new map tiles, new obstacles, just some rules regarding those. Don't forget, you do get reference cards in the game. Talks about new enemies, new mines, and the most interesting part, the mission generator rules here, which we'll talk about some of the components that came for that. And then we have the instructions as how to turn all of the missions in the original game into a 5-player campaign. Also a nice quick reference sheet on the back. Now, the second book that it comes with is, of course, the campaign booklet for Fall of Skynet, set up exactly the same way as the ones for Rise of the Resistance. And when you're looking at it, it's another 6 missions that you get. And let's not spoil the end of the campaign. And those are the 2 big things that I wasn't able to get on camera. Now, as we were showcasing the rules, I do want to show the other stuff, which are the reference cards. Just didn't have enough room out there. So you can see rules for Cheyenne Mountain, Skynet Core, how to beat the T-3000, the stagger rules. So it's just a double-sided card. And then we've got all the reference cards for the new tokens, such as the laser gate. And we'll jump into the tokens right now as we're going over this. You can see these tokens are double-sided, rules for the laser gate. The other side was just a basic obstacle. Once again, supply crate rules. Nothing too different about those. However, we do have computer terminals this time. Oh, sorry, right here. That's a supply crate. That's a computer terminal. We then also have Skynet turrets, which are different. So as you can see, we've got the turret tokens out here. Then we also have a Skynet heavy turret as well. And these are also double-sided. They can just be obstacles. And this just looks to be scenery, but can be an obstacle as well. Let's just flip that over. I like seeing the heavy turret. And as you can see, there's heavy turret 02. So there should only really be 2 turrets at a time. And then, of course, another turn sequence card for the 5th player. So let's take all this reference content. Let's get it out of there. We've covered some of the new components. Now let's dive in to the map tiles. Now, I'm not going to showcase all of them. I've got them nicely stacked here, but as you can see, we've got some new size tiles. We have some smaller ones. Only one of the ones that is this size here. Some more tiles. I'm going to push them all back nicely. Not really going into too much detail, as you can see. And then we've got two of the big tiles. I don't really want to mess everything up because it's going to be just a pain to put back. But you can see you're getting a sizable amount of components, which is going to go great with that mission generator after you've completed the campaign. Now, speaking about the mission generator, we have the set of mission generator map cards. So what we have here is different maps. I have not used the mission generator yet. I'm going to play around with it before we get into the review so I can talk about it. But it gives you ideas as to what you're going to be doing. It says that this map is only good for Fall of Skynet only. You'll see that some of them may say Rise of the Resistance. So far I see only stuff for Fall of Skynet. So this one needs both games. But you've got a total, well, some of those are reference sheets. You've got 20 maps that you can use to generate your own missions, and then just some mission objectives. I'm guessing there's about 20 to go with the different maps. Now, as we're going to have a fifth player, I'm just going to make sure that all stays on camera and we're at the edge. We've got the components for them, their dice, the new purple coloring for the enemies, their ready token, their grenade. Here are the new grenade tokens for the different kinds of mines. We also have more damage, but these ones are different from the ones in the base game as they have this symbol on the other side. And as I'm just reviewing the components right now, I'm not quite sure what that symbol does. Don't worry, I will talk about it in the review if it does happen to come up. Now, let's take a look at the heroes. And I'm going to pick up our hero boards here. So we've got the Commander Michael Arthur. We've got Gwen Charlotte, our heavy weapon specialist. Now, actually, I'm just going to go back here and just see what abilities they have. We're not going to go through all of them. There's 6 new characters. That's cool. We can let another character move with his special ability. On their turns, each other character in your zone can reroll 1 unassigned action die. That's really cool. And then he's got, after attacking, choose 1 character in your zone, including you, to move 2 hexes, even if they are down. Neat. Like that stuff. So if we're looking at her, she can take an extra wound. So you may use move action spaces as if they were copies of an attack action space on one of your equipped weapon cards. That's very cool. Then when attacking, if you have not moved yet, this turn we roll any number of attack die. Overall good. Let's see Luke Roberts. When you assign a die to an action sequence on an equipment card, you may change the die to any value. +2 to each card slot used for equipment. You can hold an extra 2 equipment cards. That's awesome. And then he's got some good defense stuff. When defending against an enemy, re-roll this attack die. If the result is at least 1 success, the enemy takes 1 wound, so you can hit them back. Or it's like you planted a trap for them. Here we've got our sniper, which is something that's very different. So if you're in cover, enemies cannot attack you from places further away than that die's value. Very good. When we played the game, there were sometimes we didn't use a die. That makes that die very useful now. Whenever you assign a die to an attack action space, you may increase or decrease its value by 1. Very cool. Once per round after using an attack action space, make 1 additional attack with the same attack action. So this is the character that's really going to be thinning the herd and probably not getting too many objectives, but covering the whole team. Then lastly, Chris Andrews, so they may be related. So when using this move action space, do not pay additional movement points to move through obstacles. That's solid. You can just keep trucking along. You may make a reinforcement roll before assigning any of your action dice instead of during your enemy phase. That's neat. That lets you sort of plan out your actions a little more. Then after defending, move up to 2 hexes if you are not down. Very cool. I know I wasn't planning to go through all of the abilities, but as we're really focusing this review video on components and the review as to how to play really doesn't change, I figured I'd actually do that, just change my mind mid-filming. Now, let's take a look at the miniatures. So here we've got Michael Arthur, and same quality as what we got from the first game. Here we've got Owen Charlotte with her big cannon. Now, we've got Stephen Andrew right here with his sniper. We've got Chris Andrew with his Gatling gun. And I'm drawing a blank on the third guy. Let's just reveal it. It is Luke Roberts. Just wanted to get the name. So here we have it. Luke Roberts, our scout. But what I will say is I really like the variety of what we're seeing with all of these characters. And don't forget, you can bring your guys from Rise of the Resistance into this game and vice versa. Now let's take a look at the enemies. Now, I'm not going to showcase all the boss behaviors as it gets a little too complicated, but we've got some new bosses. You can see each of them have their own behavior cards behind their boss cards. Here we've got the T-3000, or potentially Skynet himself. I don't know if the T-3000 is Skynet. I do really like the details of the miniature. Looks like the character from the film. We've got the T-800 infiltrator, so as you can see, looks like a Resistance member, but not quite. You've got a T-800 with a missile launcher now, so let's be careful, and that's his arm actually is a missile launcher. We'll get to these cards in a second. We've got the new T-72 flamethrower, so you can tell it's a flamethrower by the cannon on the top, otherwise it looks identical to the other miniatures. We've got a T-72 with a missile launcher, and what I do like, just for like how things look very similar, you can tell that the missile launchers for the T-800 as well as the T-72 are similar in design. Now we're getting into the regular enemies, but before that, we have a new T-1000 boss. This T-1000 number 2. You'll only use this card with the number 2, but the miniature is in the original game. Here we've got the T-800 with dual plasma guns, so that's a little scary there. And then something that is new, we have these elite enemies which act like bosses. So they're going to perform actions more like the bosses. And we've got elite versions of the T-800, the HK-8 drone, the T-72 platform, and the T-800 dual plasma. So all of the base enemies. Now they're not featured here, but before I forget to mention it, you do get some more of the miniatures that you had in the original game in this game. And it does look like there's some tiny differences between them, just so you get a little bit more variety. But I did want to showcase that. Make sure you're aware of it. Now we've covered just about everything with regards to the miniature. We just have the cards. So I'm not going to dive into these. These are way too many. There are way too many of these cards. We've got all these different class cards: spotter, demolitions, gunner, sniper. That's pretty cool. You can get the sniper ability on someone else. Hacker, which was Alex's abilities, and they were definitely cool the times I played the game. Lieutenant, Breacher, Survivor, Armor Specialist, and Freedom Fighter. All these work with the classes in the core game. We then get new weapons. As you can see, some of them are fairly the same. Plasma carbine, minigun. There's some of the stuff we've seen before. The machine gun I don't believe I've seen before. Dual pistols. Plasma jet is definitely a new weapon. Net gun. Rocket launcher is totally new. An experimental laser rifle. I kind of just like the idea of that weapon. So definitely some cool stuff that you will be finding in this game. And then we've got a whole slew of new equipment cards. Some of them are objective cards like a T-800 command ship. Then regular stuff that we've seen before, grenades, medkits. Chaff grenades are new, high explosive rounds. There's now ambush, so you can potentially be ambushed when you're getting equipment. Flares. New laptop computer tech stuff we can interact with. Radios, which is new. Here are some of the new mine cards. Stabilizers, which I guess will let you use some heavy weapons more. And infiltration armor, just some armor, night vision goggles, pretty cool. Smoke grenades. And then the other stuff, remote mines. And then, of course, a lucky find. Gotta love the lucky find cards. And that's it. Those are all the components that you get in Terminator Genisys, Fall of Skynet. So I'm going to go ahead and dodge Terminators, and then Julie and I are going to come at you with our review of the game. If you're wondering where the how to play is, right about now you're going to be seeing a link pop up to our review and how to play of Terminator Genisys Rise of the Resistance. You can find everything you need to learn about the game in terms of gameplay right over there. And don't forget, we've also done a playthrough of the game, so you can take a look at that as well. Terminator Genisys, Fall of Skynet, the expansion. What did you think of this add-on to the original game? Because I know you liked the original game, but it really wasn't your favorite.
Well, and I know this upsets people, but Terminator's never really been my favorite franchise. I watched it. It's okay, but...
Well, we didn't get any negative comments, so I don't think you're the only one that doesn't...
I have nothing against Terminator. It's just, it's not X-Files. It's not Marvel. It's not, whatever. I still still think they could do something with SEAL Team in this, but it's a whole other subject.
She loves David Boreanaz. So if David Boreanaz was a Terminator, would you love this game?
If he was one of the characters, well, not David Boreanaz, but if one of his characters was...
Well, no, played the Terminator. Would you love this game?
Maybe.
Well,
anyways,
Lynnvander, get on it. You guys know him.
Besides the point. I mean, this basically, it's the same game. It feels like the same game, just a new story and new characters, plays the same way. It's not that the mechanic has changed any, right?
No, the mechanics are different. Mechanics are the same. There are some small differences. We haven't gone to all of them yet. With regards to some of the new boss mechanics, we've not faced all of them yet. And things like the new EMP mine. So very minor differences in the mechanics.
Generally plays the same way. I would say, for me, the big difference here that addresses the main complaint I had with the first game is these characters are more powerful.
They definitely feel that way. I don't know if they're actually more powerful, but their starting equipment is varied enough, and I think we have a better team. These characters feel like they work better as a team than the original characters.
We played 2 missions, and the first mission felt like a cakewalk. We just had lucky rolls. Everything worked in our favor, and I'm like, well, that was easy. That was fun.
We were kind of surprised. I was like, well, this game's supposed to take an hour. I think like 45 minutes later, we're done.
Yeah. The second game, a little bit harder, many more...
Well, we almost got annihilated. Yeah. And one of the reasons why we only played 2 games of this, we wanted to get a feel for it, the characters. We've already played plenty of the original game.
Yeah. So for me, I think they did what I asked in the last review, is make the characters a little bit stronger,
more distinct. Because I think that was the biggest issue, and not to take away what you're saying, I just think that this is my opinion, and you have yours. I think the weaponry made it so that everyone was kind of with range 6 weapons. Everyone was all the same, some cool abilities, but no one felt different. This feels like a team with a sniper, with someone on the minigun, with like a mid-range character, and some up-close characters. It feels like there's a lot more we can do, whereas in the base game, it felt like, I get one attack, I fail, I'm screwed. We have some of the, not the best guns, but the best starting guns already in our hands.
Well, yeah, and Gwen gets to re-roll a bunch of times.
A sniper rifle?
Not sniper. Okay, but even the minigun, basically I got to have 2 attacks as long as I could assign a 5 or a 6 to it. So there were a lot
of long range, so you're killing stuff before they even gets close to us.
Yeah. So for me, for that, it worked. Like I said, since Terminator is not my favorite franchise, the story is there, but
I really like the story, and we're not gonna go jump into like my review or having a nice conversation about the game. I enjoy the story. I think it's well written. I will say that it comes out a little bit in flawed chunks depending on how you interact with the waypoints. And that brings up a negative about the game, and I'll talk about some of that stuff a little later on. Yeah, I do enjoy the story, but I definitely don't think the waypoint mechanic of giving bits of story necessarily flows properly.
Now, I can't talk about the rule book because I don't read it. I've admitted this before. Jason does the reading of the rules and explains the game to me. But you seem to have a couple gripes about the rule book.
Not the rule book. Rule book's fine. Simple. Well presented enough. I have the exact same gripes that I had in the first game, and completely unaddressed here. We expected they were produced around the same time. There are definitely issues with the mission book, and one of the reasons why we decided to review it after mission 2 was some of those issues actually. Whereas we're moving around the map, we have different waypoints we're getting to, we're trying to interact with, and we thought we actually had to move and do something with them, but when we look at the waypoint, it just says an event happens. It almost feels like there is a rule missing where it should have said when you enter the zone with this waypoint, reveal the waypoint and see what happens. Because we're in a situation that gets more and more dangerous as we move around the map. And that just really wasn't coming across. And the other thing I still dislike, almost on the side of hate, and it definitely dings the game a fair bit for me, at least half a point, is setting up the board. The images are so tiny that you really have to like look at the picture of the tile Like, is this the right tile? Does it go here? Does it go here? And I don't like that. It's been done better in other games. The perfect example is Zombicide with Simon. I mean, you helped me set it up, and you had no issues with that. You're like, SV, that nice opaque feature, and then just having the lettering on the tile on there is something that I really think would have benefited the Terminator Fall of Skynet and Terminator Genisys Rise of the Resistance mission books. I just really don't like that. Now, what I will say about the game that I really do like and that Julie hasn't talked about is the mission generator. There is a whole mission generator system in here which lets you generate random missions using different maps. It tells you which tiles to use, and it just adds a whole lot of replayability to the game. And also increases the aspect of, just taking the game out, not playing the campaign, and instead of going through the same 12 missions, because there's 6 in this box, 6 in Rise of the Resistance, you then have, I think it's actually a whole other 20 missions that you can randomize. And that just gives you a lot of value, and why I think this expansion definitely improves the entire Terminator Genisys Rise of the Resistance system, because you're getting a lot more content. And whenever content's easier to take out at a game night because you feel like playing, I think it's something that is a must-have. We also get some new bosses, which are very cool. We haven't seen all of them, but on the covers, you can see right here, we got the T-3000. We faced one of them, that missile-launching T-72. That thing was not nice. Mm-hmm. I was very happy when you rolled the misses that you did. Mm-hmm. She's been rolling like a beast, by the way. So, Julie, any negatives that you want to say about the game?
No, I mean, I think I was a little bit. I mentioned the fact that you were getting frustrated with the mission book makes it a little bit more frustrating to play when it's unclear and we're not sure. And but besides that, I think this does what it sets out to do, and it improved the things that I didn't like as much from the first one. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about it.
No, and it's an expansion. It's just a big box expansion, and that's why we're doing a full review of it. So for those of you that didn't watch the component section,
there'll be a link to the previous one.
Link to the previous one. There's also going to be a card popping up right now because the link to the previous one's coming just in still probably another minute or so, where you will find our how to play video, and it will teach you how to play the game, since that's not what we covered in this video.
What about the unboxing?
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to link up the unboxing, but you know what? Actually, that's a great idea. There will be a Terminator Genisys playlist. You can find all of our videos in the playlist link, and that's what's going to be down below in front of me.
So I'm going to steal his line now, where I normally say something else now, and I'll say you can check out our social media feed.
Hey, that's fine.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button. Well, you had so much other stuff to say. I figured I could say this.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Yes, the links are down below in the video description. You almost got it right. Mm-hmm. Almost. Mm-hmm. So what time is it now, Julie?
It's time to grab our drinks.
Grabbing our drinks. Grabbing our best friend. What are we going to be doing?
We're going to keep playing games.
Keep playing games. Even during the apocalypse. Don't worry, I'll take you to the bunker with me.
Better.
I don't know if I'll bring this game if there's a nuclear apocalypse. It might just make me think too much.